Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Hartzell. I'm Dean of the McCombs School of Business, and I'm really happy to have Paul Knopp here. Paul, welcome. This is our first one of these series where we're trying to bring out some of our great alums and supporters and get some insights and perspectives. So thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Texas, a BBA in '82 and an MBA in '83, and have just phenomenal memories of my years there.
Oh, that's great. And I thought, I have this interim presidency thing coming up, and I get all these congratulations, and then people say, "What are you nuts taking on this job right now?" So you must have some of the same mixed emotions about taking on the CEO role. You were kind of right when the crisis was not, what it is today. But how are you finding it now, going into your role in this moment?
Yes, thanks, Jay. I tell you, when I was interviewing for this role, it was December, January of 2019 and 2020. And so none of this had even hit yet. It's just amazing to think about how the world has changed. So I was elected on March the 3rd, 2020. And by March the 13th of 2020, we were already working at home. And everything that we had been thinking about in terms of setting the strategy of the firm, the vision for the firm, had changed. I had these visions of being on the road, visiting with our teams and our offices across the country. We actually did all that, but we did it virtually. So we met with them to lay out our strategy, talk about our vision. So it's critically important, to continue the momentum in any way you can during this time where we're working more virtually and remotely. And it's worked well, but it's obviously suboptimal to some degree. But it's the way the world's going to be working. And so we have to think about the way it's changed and the way we're going to move forward.
And how has your views, have your views on leadership changed? Are they affected by trying to do this remotely, or is it sort of back to the kind of the same basics you think of? How do you nest sort of leadership with this new environment?
Yeah, I don't think it's really changed how I think about leadership. Certainly it has changed how we think about the firm's strategy moving forward. It's accelerated our digital transformation and our service delivery models in particular. And we're thinking about how we accelerate that transformation to move into the future. And that includes, how we serve our clients. And quite frankly, we're audit, tax, and advisory. So those three businesses are very different. But, we're setting an agenda for the future where we're going to think about how we serve clients both remotely and in person. And longer term, that's going to be complex, because the one thing that's certain about this current crisis is the massive amount of uncertainty. And we're going to have to think about how we navigate that going forward.
And if you think about what the long haul might look like, and I think we're all facing some bumps as we get through this, but do you have a sense, maybe early, but do you have a sense of what kind of lasting impacts you think this moment in time has for your organization in 5 years?
Well, I think we will look back on it 5 years from now and think that while there's nothing good about COVID-19, it's a horrible tragedy, that it's certainly going to accelerate the kind of change that we really wanted to embark upon anyway, quite frankly. And so, I think about how companies that I serve are transforming their own business processes from back end to front end, back office, middle office, front office. And we think about that journey of transforming those processes using robotic process automation, using digital tools, digital automation. As many companies have called it reimagining the way they work. We're all going to be doing that now. And I think we're going to look back on it 5 years hence and think that while that crisis was horrible, it really accelerated the pace of change and caused us to do things in a much more productive, efficient way.
Oh, it's interesting. And, you all have been a tremendous hirer of our students. So thank you for that. And we will try to send more your way. As you think about what our students are facing and in the talent acquisition and retention business that you're in, people are the lifeblood of your firm. So any advice for our students coming out, or any ways you think this will change your perspectives on talent?
Well, I think that the students should definitely take an enterprise view, first of all. So all of your studies, whether you're an accounting major or a finance major or marketing major, are crucially important, but I think it's really important to have that enterprise view, front to back of the enterprise, and that's really going to help students as they move forward. Also, I think digital literacy is crucially important. And as students think about how rapidly emerging technologies are being embraced and quite frankly, how they're changing over time, they're going to need to think about how they deal with those emerging technologies. I'd also say just enjoy the experience first and foremost. I think back to my 5 years on campus and think about, for instance, I was an accounting major, but I think back to the incredible experience I had in my 12 hours of history, which I just loved. And I think it's really important to think about education as a lifelong journey. So I think, it's crucially important to think about the business aspects of it. It is also really important to be a student of the world, to think globally, to think about how important inclusiveness and diversity is, think about how a multicultural world really works. All those things are really important to broaden your horizons and to make you much more relevant to future employers.
It's great to hear. I always like seeing the students that are double majoring in something or finding a minor somewhere, right? It's an interesting blend and a good mix for our students.
Yeah, I always had hoped to be a Plan 2 major, but my financial situation was such that I needed to be a little bit more practical. So, so I became an accounting major instead, and I don't regret. I had some of the real legends of UT accounting, like Aubrey Smith and Glenn Welsh and Charlie Zlakovic and Ray Sommerfeld. So it was an incredible experience.
Well, and as you know, we are still ranked #1, so we're protecting the brand. And a lot of it's from firms like KPMG and all the help you give us.
Yeah.
So thanks for all you do, and thanks for taking time today and being our inaugural participant in this series. And we look forward to seeing how you shape the direction of KPMG in the years to come.
Absolutely. I take the helm on July the 1st, and we're working very hard to prepare for that. And we look forward to seeing everybody on campus and hopefully very soon. So good luck to everybody, and congratulations on those that are graduating. And I look forward to seeing everybody soon.
Thanks, Paul. Can we get a hook 'em?
Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns.